Hi, this is Jeff with Sabe, and in this video we're going to talk about a portion of the procurement process in Sabe. And we're only going to talk about a portion of it because it's a heavy lift. It's a big process. We need to we start with identifying a demand, which might be a specific demand. Someone buys something, we have to buy it to sell to that person, or maybe a replenishment demand. We keep a certain amount of inventory in stock and we've reached a magic level and we need to replenish that. Then we decide from whom we're going to buy it with a vendor contract, and we have splits and ranked vendors and EOQ and MOQ, economic order policies and minimum order economic order quantities and minimum order quantities. We go into a purchase process where we have an authorization and we send that PO to the vendor. We receive the parts. We receive an invoice from the vendor. We may do some quality control on the parts to see if we accept them or not. Then we match up what we order with the purchase order with what the vendor says they shipped us and we accepted with what the vendor is charging us for in an invoice. And then at the end of the game, we pay the vendor and we archive all that for vendor performance. That's too long to talk about in one video. You'd fall asleep right around here and I'd get bored right around here. So in this video, we're just going to talk about the authorization process. We're not going to talk about why we have a purchase order. We're going to talk about what we do to get that purchase order authorized and sent to the vendor. So, to Sabe. So here I am in Sabe. I'm at the purchase order workbench, and I have two purchase orders. Now, for this example, we're going to be using two users, my product manager, Graham Lyon, and myself. Graham Lyon, aka G, has an authorization limit of $500. So he can authorize purchase orders which are less than $500, at or less than $500. If he wishes to authorize a purchase order for a greater amount, it'll be denied, but the upstream authorizer is me, and I'll receive a message of some sort. In my user record, I've said the short messages that I receive, I want to be sent to my SMS account, and now my laptop is logged into the Apple evil Uber structure. So my SMS account is assigned with, is linked with my iMessage account. So any messages that I receive from Sabe are going to show up as messages on my desktop, which you can see. Now, I don't have an authorization limit. I can authorize every purchase order. So we have two POs, one for $399 and one for $1,100. Again, Graham has an authorization limit of $500. So if Graham attempts to release his purchase order, it just releases. Now, it did two things. Actually, did three. The first thing is it attempted an authorization, and that authorization was valid. So if I take a look at the information in that purchase order, I get a thumbprint, but I also see that I've been playing around with this PO. These are all authorizations in preparation for this video. Back and forth. So this is the 9th version of the purchase order to have been authorized, and I can see the time and date of the authorization, but moreover, I can see this is the last one that was authorized, and these are the previous versions. I can download that purchase order, and I can see exactly what went to the vendor, or what should have gone to the vendor. This is a person who placed a purchase, and this is a purchase order, and this is a person who authorized a purchase order. In this case, again, because it's underneath Graham's authorization limit, same person. So now we have another purchase order, and this purchase order is greater than Graham's authorization limit. So Graham's going to attempt to, he could just do the authorization, attempt that, but he's lazy, so he's going to attempt to release his purchase order. And something's going to happen. Again, when we release a purchase order, we first try to authorize it if it's unauthorized. And that authorization is going to fail for Graham because, again, it's over his authorization limit. So he's going to be notified that in a window, but because I'm his upstream authorizer, Sabe will send to me something we call a short message. And that short message in my user record is set up to go to my SMS, to be sent to my SMS, my mobile phone. And we're going to see that in the screen. So again, Graham is going to attempt to release his purchase order. he gets a message that says he can't release his purchase order because it's greater than his authorization limit, and I sent my mouse over there to hold that window. And I received a message that said Graham Lyon has requested that purchase order number blah 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 be authorized. So I can be sitting on the factory floor on a golf course. I've never sat on a golf course, or anywhere, and I know that I've got a purchase order that needs to be authorized. They need more than just a digital signature, a picture of a signature. They need the purchase order to actually be stamped with their certificate, the PDF be stamped with their certificate. That certificate follows the same rules. In this case, this PDF would be stamped with my certificate, my digital certificate, so the vendor can say, yes, Grant or Jeff really did authorize his purchase order encapsulated in the PDF. Now, from this point, Graham would log in and he would see that he has that purchase order. That purchase order has been authorized, and he would just click and release that purchase order and send it to the vendor, or fax it, or EDI it, or however we send purchase orders to the specific vendor. So to summarize, users have authorization limits and can identify upstream authorizers. Authorizers receive messages when an authorization has been requested. Authorized purchase orders are recorded into the document management system and kept there in perpetuity, and the signatures, the authorization signature on the purchase order may be a digital picture, and again that picture is assigned to the user, or may be a digital certificate, which again is assigned to the user that authorized the PO. So of that big process, this is a little bitty chunk. We'll do a series of videos that capture the other little bitty chunks, and some of those little bitty chunks aren't very little or bitty, and I'll talk to you in those.